Good evening, everybody. This is ButteryGreg, and I'm here with a best of three series between Team Legion's LgNLuxury and Complexity Academy's Goswser. Spawning here in the top right is going to be Goswser as the red Zerg, and his opponent in the bottom left is going to be LgNLuxury as the purple Protoss. This game was part of Week 1 of ESEA, Season 10, I believe. This is, of course, this is a clan league, and this match in particular was between Team Legion and Complexity Academy. The format is that there's a best of three between a bunch of players, and there's generally 4 of these at a time. And then if the teams split 2-2, then there's an ace match, which is another best of three between the team's choice. Manager gets to choose who picks. So I've already casted a couple of these games. I casted some games between Cheetah and his opponent. Their names keep evading me because they're not on Team Legion. So I casted Cheetah playing earlier, I casted Mystic playing back when this match took place. So now we're seeing LgNLuxury's games against Goswser. I believe Goswser's a name that many people are actually going to recognize. He's apparently had some publicity, some people are aware of who he is. So this is going to be a PvZ on Tal'darim Altar. And we see here that LgNLuxury is opening with a Forge First Expand. This is really common on this map. It's pretty easy to wall off your natural. It's pretty easy to get your Forge going. Meanwhile, Goswser it looks like he's going to be going for a 15 hatch. He's gotten to 15 drones, no spawning pool. He's probably going to head down here and take his natural soon. He is moving out for the scout. He's sending his Overlord left, and he's sending a drone south, while LgNLuxury is sending a probe north first. So they're not going to see each other immediately. It's probably going to be a little bit of time before they figure out where they are. And in that case, of course, LgNLuxury is going to be forced to go Forge first rather than Nexus first, because generally you need to see if Zerg has their pool down. If Zerg is doing a late pool, it turns out Goswser is actually not 15 hatching, but if Zerg is doing a late pool, then Protoss can go Nexus first. But if there's an early pool, Speedling opener, then Protoss would have to go Forge first and then Nexus. Looks like Goswser went for a 15 pool, and then he's going to go for a much later hatch, a 16 or 17 hatch, which just went down now as natural. Meanwhile, LgNLuxury, having scouted the later pool, he's going to go Nexus before getting the gateway and cannon. This lets him keep the economy going, but keeps him safe, of course. And he had a lot of probes out there scouting, so he recalls all but this one that's in Goswser's base, and it's going to keep an eye on things, see what's going on over here in the Zerg base, while he gets his own natural set up. Meanwhile, it looks like Goswser's found LgNLuxury, and he's looking around the natural a little bit, doing some poking. He's going to harass this probe a little bit. He did get the first hit, so if they fight, he will kill that probe, but LgNLuxury escapes. Very nice there, using the cannon to trick the drone and then throws down his gateway. So it looks like Goswser has not taken any gas yet. He's just getting his queen, getting a lot of drones on minerals, and taking his natural. He's got a couple of lings moving out. They're going to go poke a little bit at LgNLuxury's base. This is pretty much just to keep him honest, because this cannon, of course, is going to shut him down. Looks like, actually, only some of the lings will even be going there. One's going to pick up this tower. This one, it looks like, is heading over here to grab another tower. This one's going to the south tower. And this one's actually going to run up into the base and just quick check to make sure that LgNLuxury hasn't, canceled his entire expansion and is foregating or something crazy like that. Nexus is going to finish up. LgNLuxury's throwing down 2 gas geysers in his main. It's a really standard transition because gas is delayed a lot when you go Forge first, so you'll generally see a Protoss player take 2 assimilators at the same time rather than just 1 in order to make up for that lost time and get his gas going a little bit quicker. But Goswser, a little bit to my surprise, has still not taken any of his own gas geysers. Oh, here we go. He's got 1 in his main going down. Sometimes we'll see them take 1 at their natural as well, but only 1 in either base. Looks like he's only opting for 1 geyser in total. This suggests to me that he just wants to get to layer tech, and then he will, or actually, could be mistaken, but I think he's going to use this just to get the layer tech, possibly to get an Evo chamber, start getting upgrades going. But we would see 2 or more gas geysers if he were planning on going for infestors or mutalisks. There's another gas geyser. So he's going to be starting to look at tech units in the near-term future, but I wouldn't expect any quick mutalisk plays just yet. LgNLuxury's chrono boosting his warp gate tech. I think this is a little bit surprise to me, but it's indicative of going for a large 2-base gateway push, because he's trying to get this warp gate tech done as quickly as possible despite having started the cybernetics core a little bit late. Generally, if a player goes for sort of a 2-base gateway all-in, like an 8-gate or a 7-gate, then you're going to see 1 gas geyser at the natural here, you'll see them sort of delay, and then they throw down all of their gateways at once and move out right around 9 to 9.5 minutes, depending on exactly which variant the player's doing. Well, it looks like Goswser started his layer tech, and he's taken all of his gas geysers, so there's no evo chambers. I'm a little bit surprised. Generally, by about 7.5 minutes, we'll see he's going to have some evo chambers going, because he needs to get upgrades. See, there's the first one, right at 7:20, because he needs to get some upgrades, and he needs to be careful in case LgNLuxury were going for a Stargate. So if he were going to get a Stargate after a Forge first, his first Void Ray will be here, probably a little bit about around 8:30, so he would want to have some Spore Crawlers up to defend against that, or at least have the capacity to make them, which, of course, you need an evo chamber for. Goswser's going to go ahead and start on these backdoor rocks, some Zerglings, so he can take a reasonably fast third here. You know, I consider anything under 10 minutes to be a quick third, but more and more we're seeing in PvZ that Zerg is going to go for even, you know, if it's available. It's not on Tal'darim Altar, but on other maps, we'll see Zerg players take a 6-minute third, an 8-minute third, you know, just very, very fast. In my opinion, kind of risky plays, but this, you know, he's going to go try to get his third down around 10 minutes here. Looks like LgNLuxury is moving in with some Zealots. He doesn't have any proxy pylons or anything. He's throwing down a ton of gateways in his main, so he's going to get up to 7 gateways. And from here, he's going to try to transition into a pretty strong all-in. These Zealots get a bit surrounded by the Zerglings, but they are going to be able to clean them up. They took a little bit more damage than if they had been clumped more appropriately. But Goswser's going to spawn a ton more of Zerglings from both of his hatcheries, and he's going to be able to clean this up in no time. He's throwing down a Spire. This could be a serious problem for LgNLuxury, because he does not really have any anti-air defense in his base. He has no cannons in his main, no cannons in his natural. He's going pure Zealot, which is a little bit surprising for me. I would expect to see this push start off with Zealot Sentry and then transition into a more Stalker-based attack. But he's just riding upgrades and Zealots. It looks like Goswser's finished his first line of Spine Crawlers. He's got 4 more coming down. And this is going to be pretty much impregnable for LgNLuxury for the time being. And I think this actually puts LgNLuxury in a bad situation, because he's invested a lot of money into this attack. He doesn't have very good defenses back to his base. Like I said, no cannons back here. He does have the Forge, but he has no cannons. And he hasn't scouted what's going on inside Goswser's base. So when these Mutalisks come out pretty soon here, he's got 9 in production now, it's going to catch him by surprise. This is a pretty neat Zealot attack here, but I think there are too many Spine Crawlers for him to survive. You know, he's going to pick off a ton of Zerglings, and he even kills a couple of Spine Crawlers, but ultimately, it's too many Spine Crawlers for him to chew through. And now there's a lot of Mutalisks on the field. This forces Stalker Warp in from LgNLuxury back here in his main. He's got 1 cannon in his natural, but he just doesn't have enough static defense right now. I think he's going to lose a lot of probes in this attack. We're seeing the Mutalisks come in. They're going to harass the natural. They're going to stay here pretty much as long as they can, you know. The probes get pulled immediately, excellent reaction time. But they're just going to stand here and poke until the Stalkers show up, and then the Mutalisks can use their mobility advantage to swing around this gap and go behind the main. LgNLuxury's doing a great job trying to track him with his Stalkers here, but it looks like he's lost sight of the Mutalisks for a little bit, and they're going to be able to sneak past him. Swing into the main here, pick off these probes mining gas. Actually, he's just going for any probes he can. Personally, I like to harass the probes on gas because that's usually the hardest for a player to come by. Twilight Council finishes, so he's going to be able to start Blink, and in due time he'll be able to terminate this Mutalisk harass, but for the moment he's just going to have to suffer the losses. I mean, you know, of course, he's not losing too many probes. He's only lost 6, well actually that's a lot, he's lost 16 so far, a little bit more than I had expected, but he just doesn't have a good way to shut this attack down until Blink finishes. Especially with the rising Mutalisk count, we've got 2 more in production, and at the same time Goswser's taking his 3rd base, so he's got a little Ling attack coming in here. This 1 sentry is not going to be enough to defend it. Looks like the Lings are going to make it past it and swing into the base. The Mutalisks come in behind for support. They're going to easily pick off all of these sentries back here, while the Zerglings tank damage from the Stalkers. And then the Mutalisks just retreat pretty quickly here. Blink's about 3/4 done. Picks off a couple of Mutalisks, but no real damage taken by Goswser there. He's done an incredible amount of damage to LgNLuxury's economy, and he's managed to keep most of his Mutalisks alive. I believe I saw he was going for the ground attack upgrades earlier. No, he was going for the flyer attack upgrades, I'm sorry. So he's got +1 air attacks, which just makes these Mutalisks even more annoying. LgNLuxury's finally got enough Stalkers, he's going to be able to pick these Mutas off if they stick around much longer, but it's cost him an insane number of probes. He's behind 40 food, he's behind a base. I think he's going to have a lot of trouble coming back from this. And I think this sort of comes back to his opener. He was going to go for that strong two-base gateway push, which is a really good strategy in PvZ, but he didn't get enough scouting information, and he didn't do any damage because Goswser threw down 10 spine crawlers right here. If he'd gotten a little bit more scouting, he could have seen these Mutalisks coming sooner, and he would have had plenty of time to make a Stargate or make some cannons to defend his mineral lines. Got another big batch of Mutalisks coming in here, 12 in total. They could just take down these 6 Stalkers head on if they needed to, but Goswser's not going to risk it. He's just going to pick off a couple of probes here and there and just retreat, because he doesn't need to force the issue. He does lose 1 Mutalisk, though. At the same time, back to his base, he's massing up Roaches. We see him getting the Pathogen Glands upgrades. He's going to be switching into Roach Infestor, which does extremely well against Blink Stalkers because Fungal Growth shuts down Blink. And Roaches can usually beat Stalkers one-on-one, but Blink Stalkers generally beat Roaches because they have the ability to blink out of battle. But when you combine Roaches with Fungal Growth, the Blink Stalkers suddenly lose all of their advantages, and the Roaches are able to kill them off pretty effectively. Looks like Goswser's going to take sort of a hidden expansion down here in the bottom right, while Luxury is still stuck on 2 bases. He hasn't really been in a position to take his third, so I think he realizes this and he's going to push out for kind of a do-or-die attack here. He's going to leave these Mutalisks in his main to just decimate what's left of his economy. He's warping in here to try to distract him, but obviously it's not going to do anything. Oh no, he's just going to blink off and join the attack. So here comes his Blink Stalker all in. This is really, I say it's an all-in because it's sort of a desperation attack. This has to win or he loses the game. But there are a lot of Roaches here. He's making some more Spine Crawlers. And it looks like Luxury takes one look at this defense and says GG. So the first game in this best of 3 between Luxury and Goswser goes to Goswser, so it's 1-0 in favor of Complexity Academy. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into game number 2.